Fellow gardeners, let's talk about one of the most rewarding aspects of sustainable living: composting. Whether you're tending to a windowsill herb garden in a studio apartment or managing acres of farmland, there's a composting method that fits your space, lifestyle, and gardening goals. The beauty of composting lies not just in reducing waste, but in creating black gold that transforms your plants and soil. Let's explore 10 proven methods that will have you composting successfully regardless of your living situation. Number 1. Countertop compost bins. Your kitchen's best friend. Starting small often leads to the biggest transformations, and countertop compost bins are the perfect gateway into the composting world. These compact containers, typically holding 1 to 2 gallons, sit right on your kitchen counter and collect food scraps as you cook. The key to success lies in choosing a bin with a tight-fitting lid and activated charcoal filter to eliminate odors completely. Modern countertop bins come in sleek designs that complement any kitchen aesthetic, from stainless steel to ceramic options. Fill yours with coffee grounds, eggshells, fruit and vegetable peels, and even small amounts of paper towels. The beauty of this method is its simplicity. You're creating a temporary holding station that keeps scraps fresh until you transfer them to your main composting system. For apartment dwellers, this might mean weekly trips to a community compost drop-off, while homeowners can empty their bins into larger outdoor systems every few days. Number 2. Bokashi composting, the fermentation revolution. Bokashi composting is a game-changer for small spaces and adventurous composters willing to try something different. This Japanese fermentation method uses a sealed container and special inoculated brand to pickle your food waste, including items traditional composting can't handle like meat, dairy, and cooked foods. The process creates an anaerobic environment where beneficial microorganisms break down organic matter without the usual decomposition smells. So, you'll need a bokashi bucket with a tight-fitting lid and a spigot at the bottom, plus some bokashi bran or spray. What you do is layer your food scraps with the bran, press everything down to get rid of air pockets, and seal the lid tightly. The fermentation process takes about 2 weeks, and during that time, you'll want to drain off the liquid fertilizer that builds up. This bokashi tea is actually an excellent plant food when you dilute it. Once fermentation is done, the pickled waste can be buried right in your soil or added to a traditional compost pile, where it breaks down really fast. Honestly, this method is just perfect for urban gardeners who want to compost everything without attracting pests or dealing with any bad smells. Now let's talk about vermicomposting, letting the worms do the work. Red wiggler worms are nature's most efficient composters, and vermicomposting lets you bring that natural process indoors. A well-designed worm bin can fit under your kitchen sink, in a closet, or even on a balcony, turning your food scraps into premium worm castings that plants absolutely love. And just so you know, these aren't your average garden earthworms. Red wigglers really thrive in the controlled environment of a worm bin and can eat about half their body weight in food every single day. Setting up a worm bin is pretty straightforward. You'll need bedding materials like shredded newspaper or coconut coir, about a pound of red wigglers, and a container with both drainage and ventilation. Feed your worms things like vegetable scraps, fruit peels, coffee grounds, and eggshells, but make sure to avoid citrus, onions, and oily foods. The real magic happens as the worms digest all that organic matter and produce castings, a nutrient-rich fertilizer that's gentle enough for seedlings, yet powerful enough to totally transform established plants. You can harvest finished compost every 3 to 6 months, and honestly, you'll have a steady supply of the finest organic fertilizer around. So, when you're truly limited on space but still committed to composting, your freezer actually becomes a valuable ally. This method is all about collecting your food scraps in containers or bags and, just freezing them until you can transport them to a composting facility, a community garden, or even a friend's compost pile. Freezing isn't just convenient. It actually helps the composting process by breaking down the cell walls in organic matter, which makes decomposition a lot faster once the scraps thaw out. You'll want to dedicate a section of your freezer to compost collection, using clearly labeled containers or compostable bags. Things like coffee grounds, vegetable trimmings, fruit peels, and even small amounts of paper can all be frozen together. These days, many cities offer compost pickup services or drop-off locations at farmers markets, which makes this method super practical for urban dwellers. The frozen scraps stay odor-free and pest-free until collection day. And honestly, you'll be amazed at just how much organic waste you can divert from landfills with this simple strategy. For gardeners who have a bit of outdoor space, trench composting is probably the most direct path from kitchen scraps to soil improvement. This method involves digging trenches or holes right in your garden beds and burying organic waste where it can decompose in place. The whole process enriches the soil exactly where your plants need it most, creating these nice localized pockets of fertility that really benefit the roots nearby. To start trench composting, you'll want to dig trenches about 12 inches deep and 18 inches wide. Then just layer in your food scraps, cover everything with soil, and make sure to mark the location so you remember where you buried it. The decomposition process usually takes anywhere from 3 to 6 months depending on your climate and, the type of materials you buried. This method works exceptionally well between rows of vegetables or around fruit trees because the decomposing organic matter releases nutrients right into the root zone. Trench composting also eliminates the need for turning, naturally maintains ideal moisture levels, and creates zero odor or pest problems since, everything stays buried. Number 6. Balcony compost tumblers are compact and efficient. Balcony composting becomes pretty effortless with a well-designed tumbler system that maximizes space while minimizing maintenance. These rotating drums help speed up decomposition through regular aeration, and you can get finished compost in as little as 6 to 8 weeks. Modern tumblers are engineered to fit small spaces, all while maintaining optimal composting conditions. When choosing a tumbler, it's best to go for one with dual chambers so you can fill one side while the other finishes decomposing. The key to success really lies in keeping the right balance of carbon-rich browns, like dried leaves and paper, with nitrogen-rich greens, such as food scraps and grass clippings. You'll want to turn your tumbler every few days and keep an eye on moisture levels, aiming for the consistency of a wrung-out sponge. Many balcony gardeners find tumblers especially appealing because they're completely contained, pest-resistant, and produce minimal odor when managed properly. For homesteaders, tiny house dwellers, and those living off-grid, composting toilets represent, honestly, the pinnacle of waste-to-resource systems. These carefully engineered systems safely process human waste into pathogen-free compost through controlled decomposition processes. While they do require a bit more initial investment and ongoing management, composting toilets can significantly reduce water usage while producing valuable organic matter. Modern composting toilets use ventilation systems, carbon additive materials, and carefully controlled moisture levels to ensure proper decomposition and, eliminate odors. The process typically takes 12 to 24 months to produce finished compost that's safe for non-food plants. This method does require commitment to proper maintenance and adherence to local regulations, but for those embracing sustainable living, it represents the complete cycle of organic waste management. Autumn leaves are composting gold, and creating leaf mold piles is perhaps the most effortless method available to gardeners with yard space. Unlike traditional composting, leaf mold relies entirely on fungal decomposition, creating a soil amendment that, honestly, rivals the best commercial products. The process requires nothing more than gathering leaves, creating a pile, and just letting time work its magic. Collect leaves in the fall when they're abundant, and either pile them in a designated area or contain them in a simple wire enclosure. If your climate is dry, go ahead and moisten the pile, but otherwise, just let nature take its course. The fungi that break down leaves work slowly but thoroughly, creating a crumbly, sweet-smelling amendment that really improves soil structure and water retention. Leaf mold takes about 12 to 18 months to fully decompose, but honestly, the wait is worth it for the superior soil conditioning properties it provides. Number 9. Community composting programs, collective impact. Urban areas are increasingly offering community composting programs that make large-scale composting accessible to everyone. These programs can range from weekly pickup services to drop-off locations at farmers markets, community gardens, and municipal facilities. Participating in community composting allows apartment dwellers to contribute to sustainable waste management, while often receiving finished compost in return. Research local programs through your city's waste management department, environmental organizations, or community gardens. Many programs actually provide collection containers and guidelines for acceptable materials. Some communities even offer composting workshops and volunteer opportunities, creating connections with fellow environmentally conscious residents. Community composting really represents the collective power of individual actions diverting tons of organic waste from landfills while creating resources for local food production. Traditional backyard composting really remains the gold standard for homeowners with enough space to work with. Hot composting, well, it involves carefully managing your carbon to nitrogen ratios, moisture, and aeration to create those high temperatures that speed up decomposition and kill off pathogens. On the other hand, cold composting takes a more relaxed approach, just letting natural decomposition happen over a longer period of time with, honestly, minimal intervention. Hot piles, they do require a bit more attention, but they can give you finished compost in about 3 to 6 months. You'll want to keep ratios around 3 parts carbon-rich materials to 1 part nitrogen-rich materials, turn the pile regularly, and keep an eye on those internal temperatures. Cold piles are simpler. You can just build them by layering materials and letting time do its thing, though decomposition may take anywhere from 12 to 24 months. Both methods really benefit from picking a good spot with decent drainage and some partial sun exposure. The world of composting honestly offers solutions for every gardener out there, no matter your space or lifestyle. From the smallest apartment to the largest homestead, these 10 methods prove that anyone can take part in the rewarding cycle of turning waste into garden gold. So start with the method that fits your current situation, and don't hesitate to experiment with different approaches as your composting confidence grows. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to Smart Garden for more practical gardening wisdom and, share this guide with fellow gardeners who are ready to turn their organic waste into thriving plants. Your garden and the planet will thank you for taking this important step towards sustainable living.